All right, so what's up, y'all? Let me know if you can't hear me. All right, yes, let me know how I sound. I got a new iPad, so I think everything's working right now. So if you can hear me, yes, no, maybe so. I'll type it in the comments here. All right, so I was a little late getting on a little bit. I am, like I said, I got a new laptop, a new iPad, so just trying to make sure everything is connecting properly, which it is, but, you know, adding something new to the mix kind of causes things to go awry. But Skating Flames sounds good, sounds great, cool, appreciate it. So let me zoom in a little bit. Someone last week asked me to do a light source shading type of thing, so I'm gonna do that tonight, and then I will next week try and start planning out the next class, if you will, some sessions of torso. And because that's what I'm doing next, I think I'm gonna focus on the torso tonight. Got my trusty pencil. And so yeah, I got some reference over here, and we're just gonna get into it. I hope y'all all are doing well. So I will start with their head here. A little bit of line action. Her neck. So I got a few things happening here. Some foreshortening. And some good shadows. And so right now I'm kind of just blocking stuff off, kind of like I was doing the hands. Let's see if I can zoom in so you can see these lines here. So I kind of started with her head here, blocking in her upper part of the torso where her breasts are. And then I'm doing her stomach and back. Her abdomen here. Legs. arm here that's kind of doing some weird foreshortening type stuff. And so I got something happening here, right? Now if I sit back and take a look at it for a little bit, I can already see her waist is too thin here. So I'm looking at a lot of things again, right? I'm looking at her chin and how it's coming straight down and what intersects here. So it looks like her breast can be out here a little more. Her stomach, and I'm gonna pull her back out some too. Again, I'm still feeling through this, kind of, like I said, blocking some stuff out, making sure that I'm happy with where things are falling. Looking at the muscle structures and all that stuff. Like, I'm looking at everything at this point. Making sure everything is somewhat lining up to the way it's supposed to for right now. And that's, I'm drawing really light. No rush, just having fun. Blocking in some hair. Making her bikini, blocking that in. Yeah, I think I got enough distance here now. I'm gonna show y'all a reference here. And so I chose this one because of, like I said, someone mentioned lighting. So the sun is actually coming in a little bit and almost, it could be a high noon actually. It looks like it's directly above her because of the shadow is casting and on her leg. But if you look here, if the sun was directly above her, I think this would be a little up higher here. So I think it's pretty high noonish because it's a very bright light. If it was sunset, it would be a little dimmer, if you will. And so there's a lot of people do, you know, they'll do the line of action, but then they'll do like, so I'm gonna grab another pencil real quick. I blocked most of this out. Some people will do, you know, they'll start with the head, they'll do the line of action, and then they'll, and sometimes I'll still do this. They'll put like the torso, for the circle for the torso, and then a circle for the hips as well. and then they'll start hanging off, you know, the rest of the limbs, the body parts and stuff, like the leg, arm. But this one, I was doing more blocking, if you will. And I think I'm happy with it. So now I'll start going in just a little darker, if you will, with some of the lines that I'm happy with. So you'll see a lot of scribbly and scratchy lines, and hey, Michelle. And with all those scribbly and sketchy lines, I'm picking one of the lines, kind of, and just using that as my main line that I want to stick with. And I'm not going in too hard just yet. I still want just a little sketchy for right now. It's got a hard light source right here, so we'll just say my light source is up here. Right, and so the light is coming down that way. I'm gonna pull out a little bit now. Because now I got some darker lines, you can kind of see what's happening. So while I'm still sketching around,
Getting ready for your first day of a new job?
we
YouTube Music is your personal guide to the world of music. With personalized playlists,
should talk about what if.
upgrade to YouTube Music Premium, uninterrupted music dedicated to you. Try 1 month free.
It was so good. I don't want to spoil if anyone hadn't seen it yet, but oh my goodness. I feel like her back can be out just a little more. But the animation on that show was just ridiculous. And so I'm still sketching around a little bit. If you can see here, I pulled her back out even just a little more because I wasn't happy with how thin it was there. Again, I'm still looking at all of this right now. This is kind of where my focus is. I'm also looking here a little bit, but seeing like the tip of her bikini here, if I draw another straight line up, you know what I'm saying, what is up here that could link with. And for the most part, it's on where it's supposed to be. Her elbow is kind of up here. Looking at my reference, the elbow is there, so I'm doing okay right now with what I got going on. But again, that's kind of what I'm looking at a whole bunch of series of imaginary lines that I want to match with whatever that line continues to go out to. I'm looking at, you know, her muscle here. Her tricep, and then where her shoulder starts to fall back into this whole picture. So there's a lot of light stuff happening here too. And we have her underarm here. And so once I'm happy with the way I'm blocking some of this stuff out, I'll start blocking out shadows, right? So her underarm has a pretty darker shadow than the rest of this stuff. I'm looking at her lat muscles right here, latissimus, I think. I just know them as lats, right? I'm looking at this part here. So this is her underarm, this is her lat. You know, how far does this muscle fade into that one? Where does it fade off at? All of that. I'm looking at everything. And then there's a light, a really hard light up here. Sorry, there's a light hitting right here. Her elbow makes a shadow. So right now I'm kind of just drawing in blocks for shadows. There's hard light up here. It's light here. Then there's, and I think I was mentioning it last week, there's something known as either secondary light or reflection light. And it looks like she has some reflection light happening from her beach towel. And so there's some happening here. So that reflection light is when the sun or whatever light is bouncing this way, but then bouncing back up to cast another light on the subject. I want to try and capture all of that. Honestly, I feel like we can pull her breast out a little more too. So if I'm pulling this out more, I need to pull just the front of this. So imagine for those that use Photoshop or Procreate or something, there's a thing called the warp tool, and you can select whatever part you want and then you can stretch it a little bit. Because this is not digital, I have to pull that on my own. So yeah, I'm just pulling all this stuff out here just a little bit. And if I zoom in close enough, if I can, so you'll see this was the line I had here at first. And so I pulled it out, I don't know, a 16th or you know, 1/8 of an inch or something. I need to pull this one out just as far. So this was the other line, so now I need to pull this one out the same amount of space. Same with this. So I can keep everything in proportion. All right, I'm happy with that. So I'm gonna go in solid here a little bit. And I'm gonna go in solid with this one. And you can see I kept somewhat of the same distance, right? So I need to pull this over just a little bit. I like where it's connecting up here. So I'm gonna just join this into that. And I'm trying to draw a little quicker here so I can get to the shading part and the light source and all that. I'm gonna pull this breast back over that way some more. Cool, so now I stretched it out just a little bit. Zoom out some. Hey, Darby. All right, cool. So I am happy where this is going, right? Because I started drawing darker lines. And I've been sketching in some light sources. Again, light source coming from up top. And now I'm a lightly, first of all, let me make sure I got everything where I want it. Got that there, collarbone. All right, so I'm a lightly just put in some shadows, right? Because as I'm looking at the reference, I know she has a hard light here on her breast. And then there's another little hard light that falls somewhere right around here. But then again, we have some more reflection light happening on her stomach and a little bit here. And then we have her arm casting a shadow over all of this. Just putting in her bikini real quick so I can have something to go on. Cool. Now some of these where the light is making shadows and highlights, some of them are hard edges, and then some of them just fade out, right? Like up here, pretty hard edged, but then they fade into different tones of shadows. Same with here. So I'm gonna focus on just this section. Zoom in a little bit. And you can see I got some scribbly stuff happening here. But right here is what I want to focus on for the moment. There's a pretty hard edge. And then it fades off into lighter, but it's still a hard edge. And so I'm gonna just go back over this lightly again. And now I'm gonna go the other way. And I'm gonna come back and go the other way. Because it's a little dark up in this area. Her bikini is causing a little shadow here. Then I'll do some circles to blend it in a little better. But it's kind of light here. And so instead of overdoing it, I'll stop there. If I feel like I can come back in and do something else, I will. But now I'm gonna jump on this side. I'm gonna do her underarms here real quick, because those are a little darker. But you can tell it makes a shape, right? It's almost like a weird little triangle thing that's happening under here. Then there's just like a slight little separation from her breast and her lat muscle here. So I'll just make that a little darker. I'll blend in a fade here. So it's kind of dark here, but then it fades again to lightness. And with lighting and shadows, that's what happens a lot. It can go from light to dark to back to light. That's the whole thing with light source, I guess, is that light hits things, the way certain things absorb the light, how light reflects off things. Then it looks like she has a patch of lightness right here. Again, there is reflective light. Some here. She has some here. Reflective light is all over the place, right? But right now we're focused on that sunlight coming down on her. Actually, there's a really big piece of reflective light here.
You're playing music on your phone, catching up on all the latest tunes. Then duty calls and the boss messages you.
So it's kind of,
Work can't wait. The meter should
because this
plus your
arm
numbers faster
is
with some tunes
causing
like
some dark shadows under here too.
you play music in the
But then it
background.
fades off
Use
again.
other apps.
And so I'll go back this way.
Online or in the new YouTube Music app.
Well, how y'all doing out there? And so because the lat is round, right? Let's see, I'll draw it this way. Can y'all see that little contour line? So the lat is kind of like, let me see, it's rounded off like that. And then her breast obviously is round, but then there's a little divot in between the lat and her breast, right? There's a divot in there. And that's what I'm trying to show with this contour line. And then this one comes out as round. But this is that little divot I'm trying to show. And the way the shadow, the light is portraying it is that there's a, I don't want to say significant, but you can tell like it's dark on this side and then it fades into light, right? Because the light is coming in through certain little places. Her arm is blocking a lot of this stuff, but the light is shining through here, so the light is on this side more than it is on this side, right? So if we split it where that shadow is, we got the light hitting here and a dark shadow on that side. I hope that made sense. Felt like I was rambling. And for a lot of this right now, I'm just letting the weight of the pencil do most of the work. I may push in and add some pressure here and there. But for the most part, I'm letting the pencil do the work. And I'm just going back over and over and over until it blends out some to what I see on this paper or on a reference. It's a little dark under here. And that's another thing, like just learning anatomy will help so much in especially if you want to do like character design or something like that. You know, even like I was saying the other day, even if it's like children's books, you still want to know the basic rules of anatomy. You want to know how far the body can stretch and all that stuff. Once you get that down, then you can change the rules and break them. But you have to know basic anatomy first on male, female, children, all that stuff. And again, I'm just going back over and over, very light until I'm happy with how it blends and kind of what I'm getting. Now I'm gonna fade this in just a little more here because I don't want it to be as white as that highlight. That highlight is very pronounced. But then it just fades off here, and then this fades up into that highlight. And then this fades off out here. And so there's some lighting happening there. Oh, no problem. That's what I'm here for, man. You know, I want to help as many people as I can. Doing all right. Been keeping busy. Brought some sewing patterns. Ooh. So what do you sew? Michelle is a woman of many hidden talents. For those that don't know Michelle, she's got a little necklace on. Kind of dark under here, and then it fades out a little bit. Now I think this fade is because most women have a tan, a bikini tan on their breast. And so I think I'm cool with that right now. Like I said, I just wanted to do that to show, to actually start doing some actual lighting and shadow and all that stuff, right? So this one here is pretty cool too, according to the reference. I'm gonna show y'all again here. So I was kind of just dancing around in this area. So I think I'm gonna do this one here. You can see like she has her ribs are showing right here a little bit. She's got another hard light highlight right here. And this is where her arm is casting the shadows, right? Through here, light is coming through there. Then we got a hard line shadow, but then it fades up here. And if you look close, here is, can y'all see that? What am I, okay, my bad. Here's that reflective light I was talking about. Here's another part of it right here. You could see it on her thigh and butt right here. So that, the sun is probably the best light source ever, but it's coming down and it's bouncing off of the towel, which is causing this reflective light here and all over the place. What up, Walt? Dipping into cosplay stuff, also sick of ill-fitting stuff, so we make some clothes. Oh, that's what's up. All right, and so with this, her lower torso, if you will, you can see I kind of sketched out like that highlight here I was showing you. She's got some highlights on her stomach here that I've sketched out. She has that reflective light happening here. And then that hard shadow. And don't forget, like when you do these shadows on certain things, like especially the hard ones, like even with this one, right? Again, it's your body is like cylinders, right? So we got an arm, we got roundness here, our face is round. There's no flat surface. And so these shadows form along these different shapes. So with the breast, see how that curves a little bit? It's because her breasts are round. This shadow here, it curves because her legs are round. This is a little straight, but if you look hard at the reference, it curves a little bit. But even here, that is a hard curve because her torso is a cylinder. What up, Raku? And so I'm gonna do the same thing like I've done up here, right? I am just going to let the weight of my pencil do most of the work. So I'm gonna just put down a really light base or coat of shading. Then I'm gonna take it and go the other way. And when I start this torso session, I'm gonna do both ways for male and female torsos, right? So I'm gonna do, when I started her, I kind of just done a block method, if you will. I'm gonna do this method too, which is the classic Marvel, how to draw the Marvel way, if you will. I think I got that book over there somewhere. But most people hang little tubes or ovals for torso and hips and all that stuff. Some people use a block method, right? Head. So there's all type of ways to accomplish the same thing. I think I've just meshed these two into blocking method. I feel like blocking stuff is just easier for me. You know, other people have their methods and all that stuff, but with blocking, you know, and at some point you will start blocking here, you know, or just getting some general shapes right. Then you'll have to start doing her breast and all that. I kind of cut some of this out. Yeah, sorry. So she has just a little crease right here, but it's a little darker than a lot of this stuff. So this is about the same darkness as over here. So I'll just mess around in that area for a little bit. Very light, again, letting the weight of my pencil do most of the work. And when I'm drawing, especially women in general, I love these little details, right? Because a lot of people don't do these little details. If we look at the reference, and I'll blow it up a little bit, you can see there's a crease right here, and then it's really light here because it's again, I think she probably has a bikini tan, but just that detail right there, a lot of people don't put that in there, especially people that are just drawing women and they want to just draw breasts and stuff like that. I think for me, that part, and these, not just this part in particular, but those little details like that, I feel like add to, trying to figure out what I'm looking for, what word. Maybe the realism of it? I don't know, but. And then because there's a highlight right here, this is a little darker edge, and it'll make that highlight pop right off the page. But then it fades back out into lightness, or a lighter shadow, excuse me. And so now I'm kind of just dancing around in here. Very light, very light. And then there's a little shadow with inside of that. This is a very hard line, and it's actually curvy too. Boom, boom. It's a little dark, so I'll lean in with a little bit of pressure. I remember, yeah, that book is should be in every artist's arsenal just because it's been out forever. What up, Paul? Yeah, our bone, there's nothing flat on our body, nothing. even if it looks like, I mean, some people may have a flat little back on their head or something, but there's probably still some curve to it. For the most part, we don't have flat surfaces. And it's pretty light in here. And so how I've done this contour line here, there's a bunch of contour lines in here. So if I draw these contour lines, right? There's a dip right in here, but then it comes back out here. Then there's another, it comes here, and then it goes back out, right? And these are love handles, right? And we already know that kind of curves out like that on women. So the contour should be a round contour shape. But then right in here, depending on, you know, if you're muscular or not muscular, if you're not, you can see where there's fat here, and this is fat, quote unquote fat. But then it dips right back in there, and then it comes back out to wrap around that fat, this contour line. Does that make sense? Hopefully. So I'm thinking this can also be like a little preview of the whole torso sessions that we're going to have coming up here. I just love all this stuff. And so again, kind of like how we done up here, this and this should match, right? So she's got some very dark shadow happening here. There's some dark shadow happening on this side too. And so since I know that, I can lean in a little bit with some pressure on my pencil. And I'm gonna just go around in different directions because it's kind of light right here. Again, her hips, let's see if I can look at y'all this way. If you're looking at her straight on, her hips will curve down like that. And that's what this, that's why it's light right here. So the light is coming this way because her hips go out that way. You get just a little bit of light touching here, right? The sun, wherever she's at, the sun is really bright. But like I was saying, I think this is kind of a prequel to what I want to talk about and how I want to show how to draw the male and female torsos. Again, there's several ways to do it. Everyone has their own method, and I'm gonna just give you mine, and and you can take that and make up your own, you know. All right, so I asked, I don't know if anyone heard, but did anyone watch What If from Marvel? Amazing animation. And again, I'm kind of just, you know, it may look like scribbling at first, but the more layers you keep putting down, the more layers of this circular motion and cross hatching and all that stuff. One, it'll smooth out, but you're building up. You know, it's easier to, I think I said this several times too, it's easier to build up versus going too hard and then trying to take away. That's kind of my motto for tattooing as well. I'd so rather have a client come back and say, can you make this darker, versus sending them off with a black blob. So this is kind of the same thing of what I'm doing. I am just building up layer after layer after layer after layer. You do this effortlessly. Oh yeah, that's cell shading. Sheesh, it's just really good, man. And I appreciate that. Thank you. Man, I've been drawing forever, yo. But yes, please check that out. I mean, I was pleasantly surprised. I knew they was coming out with something, but I just didn't know when that was coming out. They kind of snuck it on us, but yeah, that's just something you'll want to check out. She has, you could see she has like some rib shadows a little bit, and I'll just throw those in there. I was debating on if I wanted to or not, but what the heck. And then under here it's kind of light too, under her strap. And so I want this section here and this section here to be a little darker than this part. Right, like I said, there's light coming in here, so, and if I'm happy with the way this is looking, then I can go back over everything and just until it gets darker and darker and darker, because I like the way this shadow is hanging out here. I like the way this shadow happens. So now I'll just go over everything to make it all darker. But I won't hit this. And then I'll come back over here. Then I'll come back up again. I'll come back down again. And then I'll turn and go in opposite direction. And you can see how everything just keeps getting darker and darker and darker, right? I'm gonna mess around with this here. So this doesn't need to get any darker because her leg, which is coming out here, there's a huge shadow that's cast right here. So this shadow against her stomach will create its own line. And then these other shadows, her belly button, start creating their own little lines and all that stuff. Not sure if you know the artist. He made really beautiful sketch lines. No, I don't know who that is. I have to take a look. Do you have any tips or techniques that you use when using Procreate? You know what? Honestly, when I do digital, if it's not like digital coloring, I literally get the pencil tool, make it blue, and I just sketch like I'm sketching here. I think I do that just because that's what I'm comfortable with. But now it's just digital, you know. So like when I was starting up here, I kept going, you can see the sketch lines here. I kept making it wider and wider a little bit. You know, with digital, you can undo and use the liquefy tool or the mesh tool and stretch it out. But yeah, when I use digital, it's still pencil and blue. I changed the color to blue and I have at it. So I guess to answer your question, I don't have any tips per se. And then she's got some little shadows coming out of here. And so that's what I'll block that in, right? A really light block. She has another little shadow coming out here. And I'll just block that stuff in. So now I have a little shadow, and now I can go back over everything, because I know since I've done this kind of light, if I go over everything, this will get darker, plus this will start collecting some lead. It'll start getting darker too. She has a little shadow here. I think this bikini could have been up here a little more, but I'm not going to stress that too much. And with this, I'm kind of just feeling my way through it because I'm not too concerned with the bottom here. But she does have that reflective light happening down there. He's an Italian artist. He made several adult graphic novels. Oh yeah, I'll definitely check him out, man. Okay, cool. I have something I'm working on now. Is it cool if I send it to you? Yeah, for sure, man. And I seen your email, man. I will send that stuff off sometime this week. Last week was a little hectic. Daughter left town, and so had a bunch of tattoos. So forgive me for that. And so this is a little lighter here. So I'm just going to do a light once over pass. Then I'm gonna go this way. And on her butt here, I already know that the shadow is underneath with that reflective light. So I'm gonna just go in and just drop some pencil things for the shape here, right? And so now, pull out some. We can see, her arm that's casting a shadow here, and then the other shadow that's happening here. If we go back up top though, I'm gonna talk a little bit about foreshortening. So one, there's two foreshortenings happening here. So if we take her body and turn it, right? We got her head. And it's looking down, right? Her arm, if we have her, let's see. We got her torso kind of like that. Her hips kind of come out here. And the way she's sitting, her knees will be kind of foreshortened now since we turn the body this way. Right? But her arm is kind of like this, and the other one is really foreshortened if we start messing around. So I don't want to get too far into that, too much detail. What I'm talking about, this arm. So it's not even like straight out and coming up like that. It's raised up a little bit, but then this arm is kind of straight. So, with that being said, looking at her sideways like this, so her arm isn't straight up and down, it's actually pointing, or let's see, coming towards us on a slant. So that's already foreshortened. But then her forearm is even more foreshortened. I seen somebody a long time ago use tubes as an example for foreshortening, right? So let's say we have a tube, right? A cylinder. Can y'all see that? Cool. All right, so we got a cylinder, right? And right now it's straight up and down. Boom. Straight up and down cylinder. If we tip that cylinder and make it go in whatever direction we want to, one, we know that it's going to be a little bigger on this end and a little smaller on that end. And then we connect the lines. So now, just draw a bunch of circles inside to push that arm back or that cylinder back. If we want to tip it some more, and take a paper towel roll to help you look at this. We have this circle here and just a slight oval, but then if we put the other end here, we connect these again, and now you have more little circles there. But now you can see how it's just keeps getting pushed back more and more. And you can do it the other way too. Right? So that's kind of, when I'm doing foreshortening, I'm thinking about this all the time. Like, when I seen that, it just blew me away. I was like, why haven't I been using a paper towel roll? And so with this arm, this is the cylinder, and it's tipped a little bit, right? So now I know to put my little lines here, my contour lines, and then this cylinder is here, and the other cylinder, the other end is here. So now I have these contour lines. And again, I'm looking at reference, so I already know, you know, how they're supposed to be bent and how far and long or whatever. And although I don't do this anymore, it's still in the back of my brain. This is a cylinder, this is a cylinder. And I'm thinking of those contour lines all the time, forever. Same with legs, calves, all the arms part, the bicep, the forearm, the thigh, and the calf. I'm thinking of that all the time. Like, I cannot stress that enough. Grab a tissue roll and just use it, draw it. I'm looking around, I don't have one in here. But yeah, use the tissue roll. So many methods. I love it. Because I already kind of put a little shadow up here. And I'm sick of this song. This song makes me sleepy.
Meet Editor X, the world's most advanced website design platform, made for you, the creator who sees the invisible.
I started shading a little bit here, so I'm gonna just go back over again. It's darker up here and on this side again because it's been dark all along here, so it needs to stay in the same. And then it's kind of dark like right here. But then her muscle creates a little shadow here.
Integrated business
Then it gets lighter over on this side,
concept to production.
but never as light as some of this other stuff because, again, this is kind of
Your best
tilted under the light, if you will.
The rest is up to you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's too soothing. So I'm gonna apply a little pressure because I kind of know what I want with this already. And then I'll fade out. I'll let go of the pressure a little bit right around here. And now I'll just start kind of, oh, my bad. Kind of start dancing around a little bit up in here. And so when I say dancing around, that means I'm just playing in this shadow a little bit. I got that from Brian Stelfreeze. He taught me how to dance in the shadows. And then how to add different colors in the shadows. If y'all don't know who Brian Stelfreeze is, man, look that dude up. Whew. He taught me so much. When I thought I wanted to be a comic book artist, he just kind of really, I forced myself under his wing, if you will. Because I sat under him for a minute. And it's funny how I met that dude. I'll tell you that story and then I think we'll finish up. But I met Brian when I got out the military. I was looking to be a comic book artist. I had got up here to Atlanta, finally settled somewhere in Gwinnett, I think. Just a little outside of Atlanta. And one of my friends was like, oh, do you know who Brian Stelfreeze is? I was like, nah, I don't know who Brian Stelfreeze is, blah, blah, blah. So he was like, he's at this studio called Gaijin Studios. And he was like, I think it's up there where you live. And this was back in the day when phone books were still being used. So I looked up Gaijin Studios, seen where it was, and I literally drove to that address, and it was him. Cully Hamner was in there. He was working on Batman. Stelfreeze was working on Domino at the time, and there was a girl, I can't remember her name. So it was three of them in that studio, and I just walked in, and they were all looking at me like, "Who are you?" And I was like, "Well, they told me Brian Stelfreeze works here. He's a comic book artist." It was like, "Yeah, he's back there," but it was like, you can't go any further, like, don't go back there. Brian came out, I guess because he overheard what was going on, and I kind of gave my spiel and showed him some of my work. And from that day, I went to the back where he was at in his little studio, probably for about, I don't know, maybe 8 months, a year or so. I would go there, not every day, but just about every day. And he would just teach me stuff. So that's how I met Brian. We're still cool to this day too. I never went into comics. Especially starting off, comic books is a hard life. my professor, so I took sequential art at SCAD, and the first day he told us, he was like, if you want to make money in comics, or if you think you're going to make money in comics, you shouldn't be in this class. Like right off the rip. I was like, whoa. And it's true. I mean, starting off, you're not going to make anything, you know. But as I got through with that class, I kind of just knew that wasn't for me. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And I think that's it, y'all. So yeah, like I was saying, we got our light source here. And you can see where it's coming down. You know, we got a highlight here, some highlight happening here. Highlights happening right through here. Again, it's here because of the way the contours are. Secondary light or reflective light, I'm sorry. So yeah. I didn't want to do her face or anything. I was just mainly concerned about this. Just so, because there was good lighting happening with that. I appreciate it, Walt. But yeah, I don't think next week I'm going to do it. I think the week after I'll start the torso thing. I think next week I may just work on a model or something, just to switch it up a little bit. And maybe I'll do another studio tour. I don't know. I got a bunch of crap in here, so. But I do appreciate y'all for hanging out as always. I really love the support, man. These are fun. I love drawing. I love teaching people how to draw and get better and all that stuff. So I'm kind of looking forward to the torso one next. With that said, I will see y'all next week. Peace out, y'all. Have a good week too.